Welcome to the So Much More podcast, where we talk with people in the custom window treatment, soft home furnishings industry, and so much more. I'm your host, Ciel DeGuglielmo. My guest on the podcast today is Christina Nies. She is a night shift labor and delivery nurse of 25 years who decided to try a new career and start a drapery and soft furnishings workroom. She is a self-taught sewer who has always had a passion for decorating and textiles. Her business provides service to retail and to the trade customers, and she works out of a very small space in the basement of her home. She lives in Richmond, Virginia with her husband and their 4 children who range in age from 9 to 16. So Christina's really a busy woman. And she took time to sit down and talk to me. So I'm really grateful to her for that. It was really fun for me to listen to her about how she's adjusted, how she works her time around her schedule and her family's schedule, and hear how much she loves this business. I really hope that you enjoy hearing from Christina today. Christina, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me today. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Happy to be here.
So tell us a little bit about who you are, where in the world you live, and some of the people and things that are important to you.
Okay, well, I live in Richmond, Virginia. I've been here for over 20 years now with my husband. We have 4 kids together, ages 9 up to 16. We have a driver in the house now.
Oh boy.
She's okay though. She doesn't worry me too much.
Okay. Exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I have a retail and to the trade soft furnishings and drapery workroom, which I started a few years ago in 2021. And here I am. I feel like I've come a long way since then.
Okay, so tell us the name of your business and why you called it that.
Yes, the trade name is Night Shift Window Décor, and it is a little nod to my, still career as a night shift nurse.
So when we were setting all this up, I was reaching out to you and I was thinking, I don't know when Christina's ever going to have time to talk to me with 4 children and 2 careers, actually.
Yes. Well, I have cut back on my nursing career. Okay. I think it was in 2022. So I only work at the hospital twice a month now.
Okay.
And it's something that I still do love to do, and I don't want to give up.
Especially labor and delivery. What a wonderful time in a family's life, and so beautiful to experience that on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's really nice work. But as I age, working night shift is getting harder. The recovery is harder.
That's what I'm thinking. It's not, you might be only, I'm using air quotes, only working 2 shifts a month, but you have to adjust on both ends of that.
Yes.
And that takes some time away from the other parts of your life, including running a workroom.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So twice a month, I go in on Sunday nights to the hospital. So twice a month on Mondays are not workroom days for me. Okay. Those are my sleep days.
I wouldn't want scissors in my hand.
No. More so because I might hurt someone with them. I'm kind of grumpy after a night shift.
Get away from me. So how did you start your business? What led you to do that?
So I have always loved interior decorating, and I've always loved fabric. And probably 4 or 5 years prior to starting my business, I started trying to make some things for my own home. Okay. And really enjoyed doing it, and started learning more about how to fabricate and how, finding people in the trade. I remember the kids having naps, and during that time, like clearing out the living room so I could roll a bolt of fabric out across the floor and trying to make draperies.
and do it quick before they woke up, right?
Yes, exactly. But also while I was doing that, listening to so much more.
Oh my goodness.
And listening to people's stories. And I'm thinking, I think I could do this.
Okay. Okay. And you're in Richmond. There are some really wonderful workrooms in that area. Were you able
Yes.
to connect with them?
Yes. I actually have a friend who is an interior designer that kind of told me about WCAA and one
Okay.
of the workrooms she worked with. So I started looking into that. And as soon as I started my business, that was like the next thing that I did was join WCAA. And
Okay.
we have a fabulous chapter.
Yeah, I joke around a little bit about how I have FOMO when I see your meetings and who's at the meeting and all of that. It's a great group down there.
It is. And everybody is so generous with their wisdom and, sharing of information.
So, what do you know what year this was you were getting started in making the things for your own home?
So it was pre-COVID. So probably 2018 or
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
And then I think in 2020, I made something for a friend.
Okay. That's a really traditional start for a lot of us.
Yes.
Um, it's still so funny to me because as newer and younger people come into our industry, some of the stories are similar. I was trying to make something for myself, but how we find out information has changed so dramatically because those of us who are my age went to the library and got books out. And now, as I talk to younger people, they found people on YouTube. They
Yes.
were listening to podcasts and found out. I've had a couple people say, I didn't know I was a workroom till I heard the podcast and
Uh-huh.
things like that, which I think are so fascinating. And yet, the common denominator is still that you reached out to other people and found a community, as well as I can do this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, had you sewn much as a child
I
before?
I didn't. No, this is something I totally started doing after I had kids.
Okay.
And yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
I love hearing that. So, were you working full time as a nurse then, Christina?
I after I've had my kids, I never really worked full time again. Usually it was about 24 hours a week, which
Okay. Because
is which
I'm
is two
thinking,
shifts. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking that's a lot. And you cannot work all night long and then take care of your children all day long because sleep has to happen somewhere in there.
It does.
So, in getting started, did you have a home machine, an industrial machine? What were the first couple of things? I know you were using your living room floor, but where were you doing
Yes.
the sewing?
So so after I decided to do this professionally, um, I think the first thing that we got was a table, and my
Okay.
husband helped me build it. And I don't think I had a professional machine yet,
Okay.
because I do recall putting my domestic machine up on the table and sewing some things. And I
Okay.
actually recently reworked some of the first drapes that I made for
Okay.
someone, and I had used the domestic machine on those.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm curious, how was that? Because I know a lot of us talk about what it feels like to see some of our earlier work. How did you feel when you were looking at it?
Um, I didn't think they were bad, but
Okay, good.
my methods have changed as I've
Yeah.
learned and grown. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I always think that's so interesting. I mean, my first drapes were made out of sheets in my first house, so I don't even want to know what they look like. But it's fascinating to me when we get that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's neat to see how we've changed the way we do things.
Okay, so you made something for a friend. You're hearing about what workrooms do, and you've got local people who can help you out. Did you cut back on the number of hours you were working at first, or were you doing both? How were you making all this?
I was
I am
doing
fascinated by this. In
Yeah.
case I can't
Yes.
tell.
Yeah, I was still working as many hours as a nurse as I had previously been, which was
Okay.
probably around 24 hours a week.
Okay.
And of course, I didn't have a huge client base at that time, and I didn't have any designers at that time.
Okay.
So the work, was coming in slowly.
Mhm.
And it was taking me a long time to make things too at that time because
Okay.
I wasn't as efficient
Right.
because I hadn't done it
Right.
often. Yeah. Um, so yeah. And then I guess, started growing my client base through word of mouth,
Mhm.
and found, I think a couple designers had approached me, and I did a little bit of work for them. And
Okay.
yeah, so it
So a
just,
little bit at a time.
little bit at a time. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you made the table first. Have you purchased any industrial machines yet? Or are you working off the
Yes.
domestic? Okay.
No, yes. So the first machine I bought was off of Craigslist, and it was a blind hammer. And I'm told by the man that services my machines that it's probably a machine from the 1950s.
Okay.
It's one of those dinosaurs that, still one trick pony, so it still
Yep.
does the job, right?
Right.
And then I bought a used straight stitch machine,
Okay.
and I have a serger, but it's a domestic serger. And
Okay.
those are what I use, and I do a lot of hand sewing
Okay. And where is your business set up?
in my basement.
Okay. A lot of us have taken advantage of the
Yes.
basement space. As you were starting to grow the business and getting some more contacts, more word of mouth, did you think about quitting? Did you think about where's this business going to take me? I mean, I'm thinking about doing a night shift, catching up on a few hours sleep, and then having to work on something that's maybe a little challenging. And I'm thinking, I probably would have quit.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever thought about quitting, but I often considered, how far do I want to take this? How
Okay.
big do I want to get? Do I want to just be that person that it's a business, but more on the scale of a hobby, like as far as how much I'm doing?
Gotcha.
And it was more, I think, my confidence level. I mean, I'm sure lack of sleep and just busyness had a lot
Yeah.
to do with that.
Yeah.
But I felt like my confidence level really went up and down.
Mhm.
And there were times where I'm like, oh, I just need to just keep being a nurse and have that, that for sure income and
Right.
whatever. And then I'll tell you what I think was a changing point for me was going to CWC
Okay.
in 2022, I believe it was.
Yes. I
And
know. I know that's when I met you.
I won the scholarship from Michelle Williams,
Okay.
and attended, and I felt like that changed everything. Like, I took the classes and met people, and just networked and talked to people, and that really was a confidence booster for me.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard a number of people say that. And every year when Susan shares the number of like first time attendees or the percentage of first time attendees, I'm just like, wow, this is awesome that there are so many new people, and nice when newer, younger people can connect not only with people who can mentor them, but people who are in the same boat as them.
In the same,
Yeah.
stage of the career. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So I do often ask people, if you weren't doing this as a career, what would you be doing? You are doing
Yeah.
it. So I'm kind of like focused on the hours that you're working and the number of children you have and everything else. But what have been some of the biggest challenges for you? Has it just been time? Has it been other things? I'm making assumptions about it being time and energy. I could be very wrong about that.
Yeah, I think time is a big one. My kids don't take a bus to school, so I have to take them in the morning and pick them up. So my work day is very short,
Mhm.
and then it's hard to find time once they're home, because usually, we're
Right.
running into sports and things like that. Um, so, yeah, I would say time is a challenge. Energy, I think I have pretty good energy. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing all of
Right.
this. And believe it or not, I do sleep a lot. I go to bed pretty early. So.
You would need to, seriously. So I would love to know what your definition of success is.
I think success is for me, I'm doing something that I really enjoy doing. I
Mhm.
love using my creativity. I love connecting with the people, like my clients and the designers,
Yeah.
seeing how happy they are when I deliver their project to them.
Right.
So I'm doing all of that, doing something that makes me happy, and I'm having time with my family. I'm not tired all the time from working overnight, and yeah, I think doing what you love is
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Christina, I think it's really fascinating that so many of us started this business for a lot of different reasons. And there is a way to make it work within our family life, within our priorities, things like that. Like you were saying, you have a short work day. You take your
Mhm.
kids to school, and when the school day is over, they need you for various and sundry things. And I think it's amazing that we can make our businesses work around that. And I've had a number of people who I think are very financially successful who have a similar, this is the time of day that my workday ends because, and I've made that choice and this is what I'm doing. And I think it's so incredible that we can do that with our
it
businesses.
it is. Yeah, it's you make the time for it when you have the time.
Mhm.
I will say that one thing that maybe I don't enjoy about it is that my brain never gets to turn off from it though,
Oh,
because
it
I'm
does
constantly
not.
thinking about a project and how I'm going to
Yeah.
do something. But yes, I feel like it's very flexible with the
Yeah.
family life. Yes.
I think when we talk about time studies, we need to include all that time that our brains are in
Brains.
overdrive.
Yes.
So we talk a lot about like there are no window treatment emergencies. And
Yes.
I'm thinking about the difference between your two careers. And you work in an environment where, we tend to think of it as a really happy environment, but there are emergencies in childbirth. There are things that happen. It's highly stressful, and there are emergencies in the job that you do. Do you think that impacts you at all outside of that job? And does it affect how you see a mistake in what you do in your workroom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
um, I tell myself all the time that what you said, there are no window treatment emergencies. Also tell myself nobody's going to die over a window treatment.
Right, right. And I feel a little flippant about that when we're talking about lives at stake literally in a hospital. But at the same time, like, no one's going to die. It's a window treatment.
Right. However, the stress comes because you're responsible for people's money, and a lot of times it's a lot of money,
Yes.
and if you do make a mistake, you we have to fix it maybe with our own money
Right,
or at
right,
their, it's at someone's cost. So
right.
there is definitely the stress of that in it. But anything that goes wrong, I think in this industry, it can be fixable. So
Right.
I think that helps me kind of keep the perspective.
Okay. Yeah, it's not inconsequential when we make a mistake, but
Right.
no one is going to die from it. And I think, those first couple times that you have to order 10 yards of fabric that you weren't planning on spending money on, it hurts.
Exactly.
It
Yes.
hurts a
Yes.
lot. And we
Absolutely.
we learn from that mistake and never do that again. We
Right.
find new and different mistakes to make after that.
Yes.
So you sort of touched on this, but when you make a mistake or there's a failure in your workroom, how do you handle it? What's your first thought?
Well, there's probably some cursing under my breath.
Oh, good. I'm not alone.
Then definitely moments of panic for sure. And then I definitely then I just think things through and look at the whole picture. Is this something I need to just take a step back a little bit and redo something? Or let's relook at this and see if we can make it work somehow or another. And then last resort, of course, is order more fabric.
Well, that's the last resort.
Yeah.
So, based on your definition of success, what has been the greatest success in your business so far?
Ooh. I'm going to look at my notes for this one and see what I put down. Oh, that I'm still here 4 years later.
I think that's fantastic.
Yes. Because like I said, my confidence level was so on such a roller coaster at first. And I remember, I think it was one of the first WCAA meetings I had attended. And one of the members was in her 4th year of business. And I was listening to her, talk about projects and clients and fabric costs of projects she was doing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't ever see myself having clients that are spending this kind of money. And, and here I am, year 4, and I have a great client base, and I have a great relationship with a couple designers that are giving me great work. And
awesome.
Yeah. So
success. That's exciting. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. If it isn't too personal to ask, are you considering leaving nursing as your business grows?
I have, and my husband and I have this conversation all the time. And there are many mornings when I come home from work wanting to quit. And I don't remember who said this, but never quit on a bad day. Yeah. I always have to tell myself that. Yeah. But nursing is really a part of who I am, especially labor and delivery nursing. Anybody that you tell that you're a labor and delivery nurse, they get a smile on their face and they start telling you their own birth stories. And
one of my nieces is a labor and delivery nurse, and I love hearing her talk about her work too.
Yeah, we have a lot of stories to tell.
I want to jump in and take a moment to thank the sponsors who make it possible for me to bring you the podcast each week. My sponsors are people in the industry that I have personally had a connection to, purchased from, or used their services. So it makes it really easy for me to tell you about them and the great things that they have to offer. Because I feel so strongly about education in our industry, I'm thrilled that as the owner of the Curtains and Soft Furnishings Resource Library, I can use the resources of the library to help support the podcast. The library hosts the industry's largest curated collection of educational resources for the custom home furnishings professional. Membership to the library gives you access to a wealth of downloadable reference materials, videos, live events, as well as a community of support to help you develop your design, sales, and fabrication skills, and to grow or start a business. Join the library today at csfrl.org. Angels Linings would like to invite you to become part of their family. With reputable lining comes exceptional customer service. Trust them with your linings like I do. You get 2 Tootsie Pops with every bolt of lining you receive. For smiles, satisfaction, and a sugar kick all around, call Angels Linings at 1-800-450-9368. The Workroom channel is the premier online training provider for professional fabrication skills. Go to theworkroomchannel.com to browse the selection of anytime access courses created by industry experts. Watch detailed demonstration videos, download companion materials, and participate in private course discussion boards with your instructor and classmates from around the world. Start your course path today at theworkroomchannel.com. If you've listened to the podcast, you know how much I've learned from Michelle Williams. And I think most of my guests have mentioned taking at least one of her classes or gotten coaching from her. Her business is Scarlet Thread Consulting. Michelle loves to work with creative business owners to help them understand all aspects of their business and to use their gifts and talents to make it profitable. Michelle is a strategic profitability coach certified in the Profit First methodology, and she can be reached at scarletthreadconsulting.com. I've also mentioned my membership with the WCAA, and I'm now a gold level sponsor. where education, networking, visibility, and industry discounts are just a few of the benefits that are offered to our members. The Window Covering Association of America is the only national nonprofit trade association that's dedicated to the window coverings industry and the dealers, decorators, workrooms, designers, and installers that make up our membership. Join today at WCAA.org. WCAA, where you are never in business alone. I've also been extremely fortunate to be able to work with Merrill Y. Landis Ltd. It's a family-owned and operated custom workroom and product distribution company to the trade with over 70 years of experience. And in addition to their custom work, they offer a wide variety of decorative drapery hardware. They offer stout and flare 21 fabrics. They have Roman shade operating systems and assembly kits. They have motorization and workroom supplies, and they serve both designers and workrooms. And you can check out the MYL Advantage at mylLTD.com. Christina, you mentioned going to CWC and that being really life-changing for you. Are you a book reader? Are there any specific classes that you've taken that have been really helpful for you?
I think one of the other first purchases I bought was Susan Woodcock's book, the Sewing Custom Curtains and Shades,
yes,
and Top Treatments. Yes, that's been great. I still reference that all the time. CWC was huge. And then I think it was about a year ago in May, a bunch of us went to Tryon. Was it in Tryon? No, it was somewhere in North Carolina with Susan and Jessie Lee. It was a drapery.
Yes.
That was a great class. And I would love to do more of those too.
Yeah.
Again, it's time is a big issue for attending in-person classes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I just wanted to make note of that. All right. So do you use much technology in your business?
My phone and my computer, and I really don't use any of the software that, specifically meant for design and things like that. I use QuickBooks.
Okay.
And I love that. And I do my estimates through there and my invoicing. Okay. And of course my bookkeeping. Yes.
Okay. What 3 business items could you not live without?
I put QuickBooks as one of those.
Okay.
QuickBooks.
That's good to hear. I'm happy to hear when people
Do you use QuickBooks?
I do, but I have a bookkeeper. I barely touch it. And when I do, she tells me to stop. I'm not very good on it.
QuickBooks, my phone, of course, because our phone is our life anymore. And it helps us to communicate with our clients, via text, email, and phone calls, storing photos, of course, and QuickBooks is on my phone too. So of course I couldn't live without that. And then of course a table. No more clearing out the living room.
Anyone who has ever made a window treatment on the floor values their table immensely. Christina, do you do any sewing for pleasure?
I don't have a lot of time to sew for pleasure, but I do occasionally get a project for the house and squeak that in if there's some downtime. Okay. Yes.
What is your favorite thing to make in the workroom?
I really love making draperies. Okay. And I think it's just because I've probably done that the most, and I feel confident in fabricating those.
Yeah. I think there's also something about doing draperies. They're not complicated, depending on whether or not you're pleating to pattern or anything like that. But they're sort of straightforward, and yet they can look so beautiful and can make such a difference in a room. There's something very, like you said, you've done a lot of them. There's something kind of meditative about it. Like I know the steps.
Yes.
I'm paying attention while I'm doing it, but it's kind of soothing to make them. I'm not worried about the same kind of things I'm worried about with top treatments and Roman shades and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do. I love the impact of a drapery in a room.
Yeah. Even just, I remember explaining to a friend of mine, her house was under construction, and a couple of times she said, I'm worried about this open space and the amount of noise. And I said, well, once you get some carpeting and some drapes, you're going to be amazed at how different. And it just warms up a room.
They really do.
What do you do extremely well?
I think I'm pretty consistent with keeping within my lead times.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't usually work on deadlines. I try not to.
Okay.
But I give a lead time, a timeline, like 4 to 6 weeks. And I've done pretty well with staying in those timelines.
Okay. What do you not do so well?
Generating quotes takes a long time for me.
Yeah.
And pricing. I think everybody struggles with that. I don't know why we do, but
I think it's also challenging when you haven't been doing it for a long time. Like you said in the beginning, you were slow, but now you may be faster, but you're also more experienced and need to be paid for that. So I think that custom work is just challenging in and of itself in the pricing.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Okay. What do you love best about this business?
I love that it's my business and I can run it how I want to and put as much time into it as I want to. I love the community of this business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the amount of sharing that happens is amazing because you would think that everyone would be in competition, but we're not. We're just a community of people that are doing similar things that want to share what we know.
I love that. And
yes,
I never get tired of hearing my guests on the podcast say that because we're all from different parts of the country and the world. And I hear it over and over and over again. So it's really consistent with what we do.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you not love so much about this business? I think you mentioned that a little while ago.
I think I touched on it, that I can't turn my brain off from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like falling to sleep at night. And I'm like, oh, that's how I could do so-and-so, such and such.
And if it's not when I'm falling asleep, it's at 3:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
I have an acquaintance who recently said to me, I was talking about having trouble falling asleep, and she said, oh, my head hits the pillow and I fall asleep right away. And I thought, I might hit you. I might really just slap you right now. What is it like to not have your brain going in 1,000 different directions?
Right. I think anyone that's a mom, though, has their brain going like that.
Yeah.
Too.
And the fact that we never stop worrying about them, no matter how old they are.
Yes, exactly.
Christina, what about you would surprise people?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't think I'm a very exciting person. But I guess if I had to pick something, I would say anyone that just knew me from this industry would probably be surprised that I also deliver babies.
I was very surprised by it until I went to your website and I went, oh, okay. And then I understood the name. I'm really curious about this because you've talked about growing your business and not seeing yourself as other people were. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That one, I think about that often. And I don't think, that my business is just me. And I really don't think I want to ever have employees or hire anyone per se. I want to continue growing as far as the kind of work I'm doing. I want to keep growing my relationships with my clients and my designers. But I still want to just stay just me. But in 5 years, I hope I'm in a bigger space.
Okay.
Out of my basement because it's real tight down there.
I get it. I think that's one of the things about this industry that's so fantastic because we can shoot, like you said a few minutes ago, this is your business and you can run it the way you want to. And I know I've said a couple times on the podcast, I was a manager in my previous life. I wasn't really very good at it, and I did not want to hire people and have people report to me. It was not ideal for me, and I was happy with that decision. So I think it's
Yeah.
possible to do that and be successful in this industry. And I love that we can do it however we see fit for us.
Yes,
That's great.
absolutely.
Okay. I think that resiliency is an important trait in our industry. How do you see yourself as being resilient?
I think just the fact that I'm juggling everything that I juggle,
Yes.
and I haven't quit anything yet. So
I've seen the meme a couple times this week, and it's made my husband and I laugh. They show a picture of a couple, and it says, "We've decided we're not having any children. We've decided we don't want to have children. We're telling them tonight."
I
So
love
that is
it.
not something you can quit, but the
Right.
other two, yes, you could have, and made your life probably a little less stressful and probably a little less challenging. But would it feel as complete?
No, it wouldn't. And
Okay.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, you have to do what you love and what makes you happy.
Yeah. I also think it's really important as an example to our children. You are doing something with the education that you got in terms of taking care of mothers and babies as the babies are being born, but you're also finding a way to be an entrepreneur and do something creative that also helps people in a different way. I'm still in awe of the fact that we make people feel happy in their homes.
We do.
I think that's incredibly important.
It is an important job. I mean, any job is important. Yeah, for sure.
I agree. I agree. Do you see any indication that any of your kids would be interested in following you? They're young yet.
They are, um, the girls, hardly step into the workroom.
Mhm.
I will say my 12-year-old son, he is the one that will come and help me if I need help.
Really? I
He
love
does,
that.
and he doesn't mind. I'm not saying this will be his career because,
Right.
he wants to be a baseball player, of course, but
Of course he
um,
does.
but when I need to check in fabrics, he will come and roll them out with me and help me
I
roll them
love
back up and help me lift the linings up onto the rack and all the things. So,
I love
yeah,
that. I think
yes.
that's awesome. So, Christina, where can people find you? You gave me links to your website and your Instagram account.
Instagram, yes, and I forgot to put I do have a Facebook page, but it's
Okay.
under my name, Christina Nies. Um, and yes, on Instagram, I'm really bad at posting on social media regularly.
Really, Christina? Because you have all the time in the world to do it.
Maybe I should hire one of the teenage girls to do that
There you
because
go.
they're really good at that kind of thing.
Yes. Well, I will put links to Instagram and your Facebook page as well as your website in the show notes.
Thank
So,
you.
as someone who is new in the industry, I'm always curious about your perspective, what you see as someone new in the business needs to know, but also someone who's been around for a while. If you could share that with us.
Sure. Um, I think having a process for everything is the most important. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, whether you're a technology person or a paper and pen person like I am, um, do things the same all the time.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so much easier. It makes things easier to keep track of,
Yeah.
easier to remember.
Yes.
I can't say I'm the best at recording my processes for or the like the steps. If I'm doing something new,
Right.
I'm not always the best at writing that down on how I did it so I can look back later.
Gotcha.
But on things that I do often, I feel like I know my processes.
Okay.
And it just makes things more efficient.
Do you think there's any correlation between the importance of processes in your business and the importance of processes in what you've been doing in nursing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, in the hospital, there's a process and a what do you call it? There's a thing for everything.
Um, Operating procedures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's on a different scale. In nursing, I'm used to managing things more minute to minute, hour to hour.
Okay.
So that was an adjustment to like coming here where you're managing things on more of a day to day, week to week basis.
Right. That's interesting. I don't think I ever thought about that. Yeah, it's much more immediate in the middle of a delivery situation than it is in terms of making window treatments.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating to me. You're not the first nurse that I've spoken with who has gone from nursing into this. And I'm always intrigued by what I see as such a different type of career. And almost everyone that I've spoken with who's in the same situation is this is creative, and there's, despite the stress that we all have, it's a very different kind of stress than being
Yes.
in the hospital.
Yes.
Christina, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing from Christina today. She said energy is not really a problem for her. She really does have a lot of energy, and I admire, I forget how much younger she is than me. I really do enjoy seeing the enthusiasm and the passion of people who are new in our industry. I love that she is willing to try things and learn from other people. And again, just the fact that she can balance all of the things that she's balancing, I'm just in awe of her. So I really hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.